So I arrived here the day before my 16th birthday.
Okay.
This would have been in 1996.
Right.
And we had this plan, like, we're going to Malaysia. This is going to be your first time in Malaysia. We're going to have this amazing 16th birthday celebration. And I get here, and it was the time when, I don't know what it was a storm or whatever caused it, but there was a major power outage across almost the whole of Malaysia. So my first day in Malaysia, there was no electric anywhere. There was no 16th birthday party. I think we ended up staying up playing Scrabble, and we ended up sleeping in the cars for aircon. You know, at the time I had lost sort of self-esteem. I was sort of in a, you know, in a place where I didn't think that I deserved any better. I didn't think I could get any better than what I was currently in at that time.
Right.
And you just kind of start to accept things as normal, which you shouldn't accept as normal, but you kind of do.
Hello everyone, my name is Sagar Paranjpe. Welcome to my show, The Ordinary Lives of Extraordinary People. We've done quite a few, and a lot of you have been following us. Thank you very much for that. We're getting a lot of subscribers, we're getting a lot of comments, and we're very happy about that. For those who are watching this for the first time, please subscribe, please follow whatever channel you're on, and yeah, show some great support. Today, I'd like to introduce you to this amazing individual who is, I have to read this because there are just too many of these. So he's a host, an MC, a DJ, music producer, music director, event manager, and an overall music entertainment guy. I know I've forgotten one particular word in there. He'll fill that in. His name is Joey G.
Hello.
Hey, Joey. Welcome. I hope that was right.
No, you did very well on the introduction there.
Thank you very much.
We were talking earlier, and we're saying actually it's quite difficult because if someone asks me, what is it you do, Joey? Normally I just summarize it. You know, I work under the umbrella of entertainment.
Yeah. But there are a lot of things under entertainment, right? And
Yeah.
You've been, okay, before we get to that part, which is a lot of that part, I think let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
Because you've got an accent that is nowhere close to any of our accents here.
No. Well, I was born and raised in the UK.
Okay.
English mother or Irish mother living in England, Malaysian father, and who was living in the UK at the time when my mum got pregnant.
Okay.
And things didn't work out, and my mum and dad went separate ways, and I stayed with my mother and was raised in the UK.
How many years was that?
Well, I mean, I stayed in the UK until I was 18.
Oh, till 18.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I first came to Malaysia when I was 16.
Okay. For the
Yeah.
first time.
First time.
All right.
And it's not funny, I'll tell you a story. So I arrived here the day before my 16th birthday.
Okay.
This would have been in 1996.
Right.
And we had this plan, like, we're going to Malaysia. This is going to be your first time in Malaysia. We're going to have this amazing 16th birthday celebration. And I get here, and it was the time when, I don't know what it was a storm or whatever caused it, but there was a major power outage across almost the whole of Malaysia. So my first day in Malaysia, there was no electric anywhere. There was no 16th birthday party. I think we ended up staying up playing Scrabble, and we ended up sleeping in the cars for aircon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll always remember that, so.
Wait, so you came here when you were 16 and then you went back to the UK?
Yeah, so I came on holiday when I was 16, and I was coming like twice a month for like 4 weeks at a time.
Okay, but was your dad here at the time?
My dad was here at the time. My dad was living here, and my dad had remarried at the time. And,
Right.
and
So you came to visit him? Or...
well, I came to visit. Like, my story was like, hi son, you're Malaysian, by the way. Let's go to Malaysia and show you your Malaysian heritage.
Okay.
And so I came, and
Right.
I fell in love. You know, as soon as I was able to make the choice,
Okay.
I decided to come here. But I was never meant to stay for as long as I did. I initially came here for 1 year. That was the plan.
Okay.
Come for 1 year. My father at the time, he was involved in he had some like film production, post-production college where he was teaching people that industry. And so I was supposed to come out study for a year post-production,
Right.
and then I was going to go back to the UK.
But
And I don't know, 26, 20 plus 25, 26, 27 years later, I'm still here.
Malaysia does that to you, you know.
It
I know
does.
I came here in 2008, and yeah, I thought it'd probably be a couple of years. I was in a couple of year contract, and a couple of years advertising, do your stuff, then move to Singapore. That never happened. That never happened either. There's something about Malaysia that's so. It is the people, it's the weather, it's the ease.
I'll tell you something. We need to be more proud of Malaysia,
That is true.
because it's only when you travel outside of Malaysia do you get a profound appreciation for Malaysia.
I agree.
Look, we've got so many things better off than other countries in the world. We've got 24 hours food. We've got the best of Malay, Indian, Chinese cultures.
Yes.
And then throw into the mix the Western and the Japanese and all that type of stuff. So we've got an amazing culinary adventure for those who are into eating. 24 hours food. Some of the best food is in some of the most rundown places at the side of the road, right? I mean, so many things that are cheap. The cost of living is cheap.
God, yes.
All apartments come with swimming pools and gyms. Petrol's cheap. Our airport is great. You know, like when I travel overseas and I come back to KLIA, and as soon as I get off my flight, I have a sigh of relief because it just
that,
whizzed
right?
through. It's just so nice.
That's right.
As opposed to other airports. I mean, look, there are so many things, and I've been saying this a lot lately. Kuala Lumpur is buzzing at the moment. The city is vibrant, colorful with all the new buildings with the LED stuff. Tourism is getting back to where it used to be. When you drive around KLCC, I love seeing all the tourists there. Only thing is they're causing traffic jams now because now they've taken like the corner area and they're taking all these photos and stuff. But it's nice. It brings energy. It makes the city seem vibrant, progressive, and I love where we're at right now.
You left the UK when you were 18, so you
Yeah.
studied production.
Well, no, I was coming to study production.
Right. Okay.
And I was coming here to get involved in my dad's college at the time. And the idea was to come here, get into, because his background was video production, post-production and stuff, and to get into that industry, because I'm 18 years old, I don't know what I want to do, you know, still kind of young, don't know where I'm going, and I'm just exploring, so to speak. But I was always a DJ. So I'd started DJing.
Correct.
I first got my turntables when I was like 11 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And dibbling and dabbling over the years of DJing and performing in places in London. Like when I was 16, I was performing in bars in London, and I'm not even old enough to get into
bars.
Yeah, you know, all my friends are like getting turned away at the door, and here I am, 16-year-old going in. So I was always a DJ, and then when I came here when I was 18, I was lucky enough to meet a group of people who were pushing the club scene and DJing and DJ culture, and it was a great opportunity to be involved at something that was about to take off.
Okay, stop. Before we get to that part, then, you know, a lot of people say they were lucky too.
Yeah.
Do you think it was luck, or do you think there was because you were focused on something of the sort, you had a background, you maybe knew people before? Because the thing is that a lot of people think, oh, you know, yeah, of course, Joey managed it. You know, good-looking fella, knew how to DJ, he got lucky. But was luck really a part of that?
No, luck definitely is an aspect of it. But if you want to go on a deeper level, when you think about the laws of attraction, right? If it's something that you're really into and something that you're really passionate about, sometimes things just fall into lane. When you're putting out the right type of energy, that energy can be sent back in the way of helping you align with what it is that you want to do. Now, obviously back then I was a very young, driven, passionate fella for DJing and such.
Yeah.
So where the luck element comes into it is that when I came here, my auntie, her name's Melissa, she was here, and she had a group of friends.
Right.
And those friends became my friends, and those friends were the ones that introduced me to the people who were what you would call the founders of the club scene or dance music or the rave culture in Malaysia. And so through that, I was introduced to them. So that's where the luck comes in.
That's where the luck comes in. Fair enough. Okay.
Because, you know, if my auntie wasn't involved with those guys, and who knows, maybe it would have happened because of myself, I would have made it happen. But the initial door opener to walk through the room and meet these people came through the luck of who my family was associated with at the time.
But then after that was the hard work, right?
Well, that was the hard work. I mean, it was like, I wouldn't say hard work because for me, I was just enjoying myself. I was like a 18-year-old just having fun, you know, go out and party, and I wasn't taking it serious then, you know, like I was just having a good time and just constantly out and about, living the nightlife culture, and one thing led to another. And
so how long before the Channel V DJ thing happened?
So Channel V happened in, I can't remember the exact year, maybe around end of 2003, maybe 2004.
Okay.
Which is funny because it was the DJing that led to Channel V. So one day I was DJing in the club, and I was DJing at this club called 12SI, and you had Paula Malay Ali and Sarah Tan and a couple of other people. They all came to the club, and I got introduced to the director of Channel V at the time. His name's Jeff.
Right.
And so we got, you know, not formally introduced, but, you know, just short introduction. Hey, Jeff, this is Joey. Joey, this is Jeff. Okay, bro. So that was that. And then like a few months later, they were looking for a male VJ.
Okay.
And obviously Jeff might have, I don't know where the conversation came up, but I have a friend, Kudin. He was married to Paula at the time. And he's like calling me up, Joey, Channel V's looking for a male VJ. Go in for the casting. And I was like, because I was like, TV was not my thing. Hosting's not my thing. I'm a DJ, you know. I wasn't a public speaker at the time. So I was like, no, it's okay. And he kept pushing me. Joey, come on, do it. I reckon you can do it. You'll be good at it. You'll be good at it. So I was like, all right, Kudin, I'll go and do it. Just, you know, because you're asking.
Yeah.
So they arranged the screen test. I went in for the screen test. 2-3 days later, I got a call. Joey can come in for another screen test. So I went and did another screen test. And like a week after that, okay, you got the job. I was like, wow, I felt like a fish out of water, because in that era, we used to watch MTV, and MTV was, you had Denise Keller, or Keller, I can't remember, Denise, and you had Ut. Ut was a legend. And before I even like got into TV hosting or VJ or being with Channel V, I would watch this guy, you know, and I'd be like, wow, this guy he's so smooth on television and so great. So that was the benchmark. And then when I realized I was getting into it, I felt like I was drowning, because like, oh my God, Ut's so good. How to match this guy, you know? And of course you had Ut and Casey, right? Casey was so good on MTV. So as I said, like I was very nervous, and thankfully people at Channel V believed in me, and yeah, the rest is history.
But you know, when I started out in creative aspect, right, I had this mentor, and what he told me was that when you are starting out, you have to copy. You see, you get inspired. This is initially, it feels like copying. It is copying.
Yeah.
Over time, it becomes inspiration, and then after that, it becomes you.
Yeah.
Is that the same kind of curve that happened when you were on TV, for example?
Well, no, because like, you know, if I was to copy, say for instance, someone like the MTV VJs, then I would sound like them or be like them. So I think for me, it wasn't a matter of copying, it was a matter of just trying to be myself.
Okay.
But getting over like being camera conscious.
Yeah.
And getting over the idea of like when you were standing in front of the camera with Channel V, the battle in your head of like, okay, because Channel V was broadcast to like 100 million homes across Southeast Asia.
That's right.
So when I was told this figure, that like, and standing in front of the camera, you're battling like, oh my God, so many people are going to be watching this. Am I saying the right things? Are my hands in the right places? Do I look silly or not, you know? Yeah. So that was a battle more over than trying to be like someone. Because I don't think, you know, you're right to an extent in terms of like copying, but replicating, but how much of that can you do before you start to lose yourself? So for me, it was always about just being myself, trying to be comfortable in front of the camera, and just rolling with it. And it kind of worked, I think.
What was your, how should I put this? What was the personal life like at that time when you first started out? And, you know, obviously you were young, very good looking. Still are. I'm just talking about back then, right? So very good looking.
You made me blush.
and certainly having women, men, whatever, throwing themselves at you. What was that like as a young fella, and then as you started to grow up?
Well, I mean, I never really. Maybe I did get a bit of attention, but I'm someone that has a lot of respect for myself and other people. I don't jump into relationships. I don't have one-night stands. I'm a bit more conservative when it comes to relationship-wise. I've always been in long relationships. I've never been a player, someone to mess around and just hook up left, right, and center. So I never gave off that energy, and I never got that type of energy towards me.
Right.
Although
okay.
I do, you know, maybe there was times where people were like, oh, you know, this person might like you or that person might like you, but it was like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It was more of like a compliment to me rather than me being someone who's like, okay, here's an opportunity to have fun and go on different dates every night. That wasn't my cup of tea. I was always a one relationship type of guy. And even through my Channel V years, I was in a relationship back then, a long relationship. So I never really felt that there was this whole lifestyle of like people throwing themselves at me. It was just people giving compliments, and I accepting those compliments gracefully. I mean,
Such a sweet little fella.
no, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Truth. I mean, I know.
Because now when I look back, I'm like, you know, I'll be honest with you. A lot of my friends, I'm not going to name who they are, but some of my friends, you know who you are. They will say to me, Joey, what are you doing? I said, why? He says, why are you in a long relationship? Bro, you should be out playing the field. Do you know how many girls come to me? Bro, come on, man. Go and have fun, enjoy yourself. And I just be like, mate, that's you. That's not me. I'm happy. I'm good. You know.
I think that's probably also because of your upbringing, right? Because, I mean, you grew up where it was just your mom, not your dad. So I think there's a certain level of respect that you probably had for women. I'm not saying that others don't.
Yeah.
But it's just that there's a conscious level.
No, there is. But it's not from my mum, and it's from something else. And I'll tell you why. So when I was younger, we used to hang out where I used to live in the UK, and we had a big group of friends, always together, 20 of us, 25 of us, all boys, hanging out, bunch of mates, every single day. And I was the younger one in this group. And there was a few girls on my area that as a young teenager, I had a crush on.
Right.
But the issue is that it seemed that almost every other guy in the group that I was with had some involvement with those women.
Right.
And it made me like, I was like, oh man, you know, I fancy this girl, but A, B, C, D, E, F, G has kissed her or taken her out on dates, and I had an issue with that. So for me growing up, I always dated someone that wasn't affiliated to any of my friends, that didn't live anywhere near I used to live,
Right.
was relatively unknown among the circles. So that's what I think it was. It was that.
Okay. Friends do shape a lot of our characters.
Yeah. But you know, back then it was funny because it was more like envious and jealousy. Like, why? I fancy this girl, but she's been with so many guys that I know. Oh man, I wish that wasn't the case because I really, really fancy her. Not even like she would like me back or anything, but it was just.
Okay, so coming back then to your career, what was the tipping point for you? When did you know Joey Gaslan become Joey G? Like what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the big change was when Channel V happened. Because prior to that, I was doing, when I first came here, as I said, I was just having fun. I was doing modeling work and catwalk and photo shoots, TV commercials. And then I was an established DJ at the time when Channel V came around. But when I got on Channel V, then you get this celebrity or personality status.
Yeah.
And that just elevated everything for me. So as a DJ before Channel V, I might be on a lineup of, say, 5 other artists. And my name would be there, but insignificant a place, you know. But after Channel V, it would be at the top and it would be in bold. And then everything was just times 10. Obviously, the fees became bigger, the bookings became more. And then I started, I mean, before all of that, I got into hosting, which was lucky because I was asked to host some corporate events at this club that I used to work at. And, you know, I just took up the opportunity just to see if I was able to do it. And then that later on came Channel V. But the progression was good because that short stint of MC work kind of prepared me for Channel V, even though I didn't know Channel V was coming. Right?
Okay.
So going back to what you're saying is that everything maximized when I joined Channel V.
Right.
My DJing maximized, the fees became much higher. The booking started to come in like crazy. MC work, you know, obviously because when you're a Channel V VJ and you're talking, everyone knows, okay, he's a host, let's get him to host. And so everything just sort of skyrocketed after Channel V. So that would be the tipping point of like, okay, now I've arrived.
When you started out as DJ, you moved because obviously you didn't have a face just for the radio, had it for television too, and so you moved into television. But then where was the point where you got rid of this conscious feeling of, oh, I can't speak in public, because public speaking is scary for a lot of people, right? So your first gig as an MC meant that you had to speak in public. But how did you move on from camera looking at you and talking into a camera where you don't know who's looking at you to people who are sitting around looking?
Well, look, I mean, DJing already exposes you to a crowd. And at early 2000s, I became the resident DJ of this club called Atmosphere. And it was like 1,000, 1,500 people in there every weekend, Friday and Saturday. And then I'm up in the console. So I was really no stranger to being in front of people.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an issue, but the talking part.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, coming from the UK, we listened to British radio. Every morning we had the Good Morning show, and you could see, so I kind of knew how people, they carry themselves. And to be honest with you, at the time when I first did it, I just saw it as an opportunity to make a quick cash. I was like, there was an opportunity, they needed MC, and someone believed in me, were like, Joey, you can do it. You know, don't worry, I'll write the cue cards for you, I'll help you. I was like, okay, I'll do it just for the sake of doing it. And it turned out to be okay. And at the time, that the event that I hosted that time was under the agency G2 or Grace back then. So it did a good job.
Right.
And then that agency obviously has a lot more events that they're doing. So they were like, hey, Joey's not bad. Let's use him for another event. So then I got a call for another one.
Nice.
And then it kind of just sort of gradually progressed from there. But what I will say is this, even till now, I'm 44 now. It's been a long time I've been hosting events, way over 20 years. I still get nervous. But the difference is knowing that the nerves are there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's adrenaline, you get sweaty palms. And sometimes people will be like, Joey, you know, are you okay? You look a bit nervous before. And I'm like, no, I've been doing this for so long. It's just a thing. The minute you come out with the mic and you do your introduction, that's it. Everything else fades away.
That's
and then
right.
you're just
That's
in
right.
that mode. So, yeah, sometimes you just gotta, the saying, suck it in and just go out and do it.
Right, just.
And you never know what the results are.
Correct.
And it could be great. You know, it could work for you and you might have a career in something. But you never know unless you try.
The first time I tried, I just had to say thank you to the guest who would come in. Remember that I was talking to the dean of the university and the audience. And I'm standing there and I go, the sheet's in front of me. It's all written. I just have to read that. And it goes blank. I couldn't see anything. It was a white page for me. And I'm on what do you call them? The rostrum, the dais. I'm standing there and I look around and dip my head
Yeah,
into the...
yeah.
I'm gone.
Total blockage.
That was
right?
the first time public
Yeah,
speaking.
Yeah.
I've fortunately never had that happen again.
Yeah.
But that always comes back to me.
That happens. And I'll give you an example of when, for instance, you get overconfident, right?
Yeah.
So a couple of years into my hosting career, I've hosted well over 100 events at this time. And now I'm confident. I'm now, I can do this. And I'm hosting one event, I'm not going to say what it is, but I felt that I could go out and do it without the cue points. I said, no, my memory's good. I know what I'm doing. I got everything, know the names, everything. I'm good. I've been doing this long enough.
Right.
And I went out and I got up on stage. And like what you said, you went blank. I couldn't remember what the band's name I was supposed to introduce and where I was supposed to go. And that was my learning lesson. That was the one time that happened to me. And that was, after that, I have to feel a sense of being nervous.
Yes.
Because if you don't feel nervous,
that's
when
right.
you make mistakes because you haven't prepared properly. When you're nervous, you will prepare, you will rehearse, you will research, you will make sure you know what you need to know.
That's
because
right.
of that nervousness is driving you, right?
Correct.
But when you're overconfident, that's when mistakes happen.
That's why I was nervous to interview you today.
Nervous.
Maybe I'll cut that part. I don't know.
Nah, it's okay.
So, all right. So, of course, look, people know Joey G for music. And then a few years ago, people knew Joey G for other reasons as well. And one of them was a huge thing that happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now, let me preface this. So what happened was I was telling some friends of mine just 2 days ago that I'm going to be interviewing Joey G. Now I'm sitting at the table and one guy is here, ladies here, friends are sitting around over there, and you could see the table divide straight up. You could see on one side there was a clear team Joey G, and there's on the other side it was a team clear Patricia K.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And everybody's chiming in, you know, and they're like, oh no, Joey's great, Joey's this, no, Patricia. I said, okay, hang on, I'll talk to him, and you know, we'll get to know things. But again, the point of this one is, I really don't think we should be talking about stuff that's already out there. It's not the point, right? But when you started out first, both of you were DJs. Is that right?
No, so I was obviously a DJ. I was established in whatever it is that we were doing in KL at the time, and then I met Patricia, and then Patricia, there was an opportunity for her to get involved in various things, so she basically took that step, got involved, learned to DJing, and then became a personality in Malaysia, started to be a TV host and such.
Right.
And things just kind of just grew from there.
But were you guys seeing each other by then, or is it?
Yeah. So we were seeing each other, and we were seeing each other for a while. Maybe about after a year is when she started to come up into the entertainment industry.
Okay. So
obviously, I tried to guide her, offer, open up some doors, tried to help out, and
of course,
and guide her into the situation. Because for me, it was always about, okay, if I'm with someone, I'd like that, and that person has the potential, I'd like to share. This, whatever I do with that person, so we can do it together and both enjoy it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And then, I mean, I'm sure it was definitely fun for a few years and all that.
Of course. I mean, look, let's face the reality. There's been a lot of good things said, a lot of bad, negative things said. Now, people do not stay together for such a long time if it's all bad.
Correct.
You get me? Fair to say, we had a toxic relationship, but it wasn't all bad in the way it's been described. It was. I have so many good memories and remember good times and such, but those become tainted, so to speak.
Yeah. Just because look, it's a very public thing. It's a very public affair, and all the negative stuff. I've honestly I did a fair amount of research, and there was a lot more negative than there was positive. But I certainly don't believe that there is supposed to be that there's always a negative element in the thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to think back, what was it that you guys really enjoyed about each other?
I mean, I think the times that we enjoyed the most was just like the quieter times, like not being out or being in the public, but like the times at home, fun things like we would sit up and play Xbox for hours together, like totally geek out on like this game Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
The zombies, right? You know,
Yeah.
geeking out on that, or geeking out on movies and series, and geeking out on real sweet tooth type of stuff. You know, like
Right.
more private, intimate times where it was just the two of us.
It's these moments that people don't see, right?
No, nobody sees that. Nobody
Yeah.
sees these things, and you know, those are the bulk of our relationship, because people would see us out to DJ a 2-hour gig here, or
Yeah,
attend
correct.
an event for 2 hours on a Friday or on a Saturday. There's 24 hours in a day, 7 days of the week, 365 days of a year.
Yeah.
There's a lot more time than what people actually see, you know?
But how much of the external? Okay, so when things started to turn, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think there was a lot more external influence versus just the time that you were spending with each other, right? So how much of the external influences play? And I'm asking this not just specifically for you, because
Yeah.
I'm asking this so that there are a lot of people out there that are going through things, you know, in their
Yeah.
relationship. So if there was something,
Well, I mean, when you say external influences, that's quite broad. There could be, you know, that's open for interpretation what that essentially is. But in my relationship, yeah, there was external influences, you know, which I'm not going to really get into too much. But what I can say is that it's important for people to be in a relationship that's compatible.
okay?
Compatibility is important. And you've got to understand sometimes that you might be in a relationship, and because you feel like you love a person, or you feel like you want to be with that person, it doesn't mean that the relationship is right, you know? And so what I think I was lacking, and maybe my partner was lacking at the time, was that the ability to say that, look, you and I don't really get on certain things, and those things could potentially become a bigger problem down the line. So let's not try to make it work. Let's just go separate ways and be friends, you know? That's what should have happened.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when you try to keep a relationship together, or two people try to make something work that isn't necessarily working, it's like going against the grain. If you're traveling uphill, or
Yeah.
if you're going upstream in a canoe, and you get to those currents, you're paddling hard, and are you
not
actually going
moving.
anywhere? You're just staying in the same place,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a similar metaphor. So what I've learned through my experiences, both positive and negative, is that compatibility is important, having respect for your partner, and trust, right? And I know those are cliche things to say, but to be honest with you, those are the foundations of a good relationship, as of what I'm experiencing now. I'm in an amazing relationship. I've been married for 2 years, been together for 3 years. My partner and I, we have a good relationship, a good understanding. 3 years in, we have respect for each other. We're able to handle things like mature adults. Like if there is an issue, it's communicated through conversation.
Yeah.
It's not communicated in any way less or childish. And as I was saying this to you earlier, having respect in a relationship is the most important thing of all. And the reason is because when you lose respect for your partner, that's when you can't discuss things,
Yeah.
because you get shut down. Maybe you're trying to get a point across and the partner's not willing to hear that point because there's no respect. The partner doesn't respect you, right?
Yes. I would like to kind of have, in that sense, a closure on the previous part.
Yeah.
And move into something else as well, which I think is important for a lot of people, and it's extremely important for you as well. But as you were talking about this respect, and respect, of course, goes both ways.
Yeah.
When you begin to see the signs of disrespect, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's something that can be corrected, or that's something that's when you say, you know, I think now's the time that we should start thinking about whether we go on with this or call it quits? Because respect is the most important thing, isn't it?
It is.
Over everything else.
It is. Like sometimes, look, let's just face it, no human being is perfect. And love, like when you fall in love with a person, like I never knew what true love was until my daughter was born. That's unconditional love. There's a whole different ball game we're
League.
talking about, right? A whole
Yeah.
different league, right? But when you're talking about two relationships, I mean, this is just my take. I could be wrong. Nobody has to agree with me, right? But sometimes the love can die off.
Yeah.
And then it becomes companionship. It's all about your companion.
Yes.
And if the respect is dying, then you must do things to regenerate it, right?
Okay.
And foster it and nurture it and grow it so that it goes back to that healthy place. But after that, and you try doing those things and it doesn't work, then you need to think like, okay, we're trying, things are not getting better. Is this really working for the both of us? Because you want that person to be great and you hope that person wants you to be great. And if you can't be great together as a team, sometimes you've just got to take the L and you've just got to realize it and move on.
That part did get a bit complicated for you because there was a child involved, right? There was a daughter involved.
Yeah, it did. But also I was, you know, at the time I had lost sort of self-esteem. I was sort of in a, you know, in a place where I didn't think that I deserved any better. I didn't think I could get any better than what I was currently in at that time.
Right.
And you just kind of start to accept things as normal, which you shouldn't accept as normal, but you kind of do. And then, yeah, you just kind of become sort of this weak person in a position where you can't really do anything good for yourself, nor can you do anything good for your partner. And then, you know, the cycles are just going on and on and on. Yeah.
So, but then, because I do want to talk about your daughter. I believe that your daughter is not with you right now. She's living a great life. She's living a great life in Denmark. Okay.
In Copenhagen, one of the best cities in the world. It's got an amazing school, amazing society. And from what I see from videos that get sent to me is she's learning Mandarin.
Wow.
So her mum's teaching her, making sure she's doing Mandarin. She plays football. She's doing all of these cool things. And from what I can see, she has a great life in Denmark. And I'm very proud for her and happy that she's there, because when we were together, the goal was never to have or raise Sophia here in Malaysia. We wanted her to go back to Europe and be raised in Europe. So the fact that she's there in Denmark, although I don't get to see her, it's what's best for my daughter. And her in Denmark with her mum, living the life she's living now, is what's best for her. And I'm happy that she's doing what she's doing.
Does she know about you?
She knows about me.
Do you talk on video?
I don't, at the moment, no, I don't get to talk on video, don't get to speak to her or communicate with her, don't get to wish her happy birthday, don't get to do anything. Like, I am non-existent. But she knows I'm here. She knows. I spent time with her last year. There was a series of trips that I had to make to go to Denmark, where I spent time with her. And then there was, she came back to Malaysia last year with her mum, and then I was visiting her while she was here.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, we had a court case in Denmark recently, and you know, there were some things that were misconstrued, and you know, I believe, and you know, knowing what I know and knowing the facts that I know without other people's opinions, I believe my daughter was brainwashed into coming into court and saying that she doesn't know me, she doesn't feel comfortable with me,
right?
Because she doesn't know me. And so the court said, we're going to listen to your daughter and make a new application in 2 years' time for visitation. And I tried to tell the court, I said, what sense does that make? Because if you're saying that my child has come in and said like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with him, I don't know him, I don't think I want to have a relationship with him right now, that should have been a reason for you to enforce more. Even when I said like, this is parental alienation, that should have been a reason for the court to enforce more like, okay, no, you should have a relationship. Then maybe let's start off with the phone calls.
Yeah.
So at least, because I live in Malaysia, she lives in Denmark. Because 2 years' time from now, is it going to be any better than it was now?
Who knows, right?
No, because she's not going to know me even more. She's going to get older and get used to not having me around.
Yeah.
Will there ever come a point, maybe until she's 18 or so, will there come a point where she's like, okay, I want to know my dad? That normally happens later on in life for children who've gone through this.
But you will have missed out on the growing years.
And that's what was important to me. I was fighting, and I fought for 6 years in courts in London, in courts in Malaysia, in courts in Denmark. One does not do that for any reason other than you value the younger years of your child, and you want to be a part of the child's life through those years. Whether you get to see them every day, whether you get to spend nights with them, just being able to be present in their life in whatever form or fashion is available, video calls, because obviously being in Denmark, that was very important to me, you know. And it took my life. It completely consumed me. Took all my money. I spent so much money on it. I became broke. You know, the public encouraged me to start a funding page.
Yeah.
So that I can continue fighting. That took me like 2 weeks of like soul searching to be able to get to a point where you can say, look, I'm actually broke now. I've spent all my money on this. And you're going to go to the public and say, hey, I don't have any money to fight continuing. Would you offer a donation? But as I said, the reason I did that was because people wanted me to do that. And so I did. And, you know, it's all been for one thing, Sagar, one thing only, just to have a relationship with my daughter. That's
Yeah.
it. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less.
It's heavy. This is very heavy.
It's heavy. It is heavy.
I don't have kids, but I am close to my parents, in that sense that I'm trying to imagine from her perspective, right? I'll tell you what I am very sure about is that she will see, and not now, but she will see the effort that you've put into this. The fact that, you know, you're doing whatever it is that you can to get close to her. Yeah, you'll miss out on the growing years, but I don't think you will miss out on that love eventually.
I hope so. And that's the one factor. That's like the carrot in front of the donkey. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. For me, I now focus on the day where I will get to have the relationship with my daughter. And when I think about that energy fills me with joy and happiness, because I have something great to look forward to. And no doubt I will. Now, going back to what you were saying, I did have 2.5 amazing years with my daughter.
Yeah.
Which is all documented, videos, and thank God we live in an era where we got cameras on our phones and such, and we take so many pictures and videos. So I've got so much pictures, so much videos, so much moments that I look back on sometimes and I'd be like, wow, if I had this with my father, maybe my relationship with my father would be different. And I hope that Sophia has enough empathy in her when she grows up, even whether she knows me or completely forgets about me, that when she grows up and she sees that she has the empathy in her to realize, wow, when I was a baby, I had an amazing relationship with my dad. And for whatever reason, I don't have a relationship with my dad anymore. I'd like to explore and see who is my dad.
Yeah.
And then when that time comes, I'll be waiting.
You'll be there.
Teary-eyed, arms wide open. Come here, baby girl. It doesn't matter if you're 25, you're still my baby girl. I used to clean your nappies. Remember that?
Yeah, this is heavier than I thought it would get.
It can be. Listen, it gets dark. Like what I've been through, and I'm glad we're not touching base on too much things.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I want to put it behind me, you know. As I said, I'm married, and
Yeah.
my wife said something to me which I want to share to people. She says, Joey, I love that you fight for your daughter. I love that. That's so admirable. But I don't want you to forget what's standing in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm your wife.
Yeah.
I want to have a family with you. Don't forget that. So going back to what I say about putting that behind me, I got to a point where I could accept closure on my fight for my daughter. Because when my daughter when the mother's not allowing me to see my daughter, that's one thing. I will fight for that.
Yeah.
But when my daughter comes to the court and says, I don't know him, I don't feel comfortable with him, I don't think I want to have a relationship with him right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's different. That can make me like, okay, it's fine. I can back off. And I feel proud of my fight. It's all documented. I have like 20 boxes of court documents at home. I have nothing but proud feelings for what I've done, what I've tried to do,
You should be.
and what I try to get in terms of my relationship with my daughter. Now, what I will say is I hope it will never get to a point where my daughter wants to see all of that. I hope that when the time does come, me and her can just focus on the now, the then,
Yeah.
and I hope that it doesn't come with what happened, what's the truth, what really happened, what evidence have you got to support your side? Because then there's a can of worms for her that has to get opened, which can potentially alter her perception of the life she's led. And I don't want that to happen for my child.
I think that, look, with all the evidence out there, with all the articles and the videos and the everything out there, it is going to get to that point, and that's honestly that's going to be a battle for her to fight for herself, within herself. I don't think she's going to ask, or anyone's going to ask any justifications from either of you, right? It's just going to be, this is what I've seen now, and hopefully, I seriously, genuinely hope it gets to a point where this switch says, let me tackle that myself, but let me get to spend more time with you and get to know you and be with you.
Yeah,
I think that'll happen.
I hope so, and I look forward to that day. And as I said, for my daughter, she's got something great to look forward to.
Yeah.
Because I have an amazing family. I have an amazing family in Malaysia. I have an amazing family in the UK. There are so many of us. She's got so many cousins. And when I think about when she comes back into the picture and starts to meet and like, oh, this is my cousin, this is my auntie, this is my uncle.
It'd be so
wow,
cool, right?
so cool.
Yeah.
So I almost get excited for her at the prospect.
I'm feeling it.
Of
I'm
what
feeling
she
it
can
myself.
experience. Yeah. And but not just in Malaysia, in the UK as well. So I'm really excited for her for that.
So, and something that your wife said just now, maybe we'll focus on her a little bit.
Please, definitely.
Right.
She deserves it. Yeah.
Name.
Her name is Tira Olivier.
Tira Olivier.
Olivier, yeah.
Olivier, where's she
Yeah.
from?
Well, her father is 3/4 Thai and 1/4 French, or Thai French, and
Right.
the father's Thai French, and her mother is Thai.
Oh, her mother's Thai.
Her mother's Thai.
Father's Thai French.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously then you guys met in Thailand.
No. She's in
Oh.
Malaysia.
She's based.
Yeah,
She's always been based in Malaysia.
Yeah, based in Malaysia.
Right. Okay. Give us some goodies about her. Come
Well, I don't want to go into too much because my wife is not the really person at the front. The only thing that she likes to be at the front or in the public eye with is with her DJing. Which
No.
she's
You
great
just
at.
be the husband talking about the wife. That's all that I
So
want.
she's an amazing woman. She's had her story, which I don't think I'm at liberty to go into too much. Her story is quite compelling, quite interesting. She's had her fair share of knocks in life, and she's a strong, independent woman who doesn't take any crap, who knows how to put someone in their place when they need to be put in their place, but also knows how to love unconditionally, is generous, has a massive heart. She picks things up so easily. She's so talented. She can weave her way through being a businesswoman into being sort of just like a goofy woman that wants to stay at home and geek out on TV series.
Right.
There's so many things to love about her, and she's an amazing woman. And I'm actually very lucky that we came into each other's lives, and I managed to marry her.
And that happened 3 years ago.
Yeah, so we met 3 years ago, and it's funny because if it were not for my ongoing court cases with my ex,
Right.
maybe the relationship wouldn't have turned out the way it was. Because at one point, so we were speaking, we spent time together, we were dating, and then I kind of just went right and she kind of went left, and it was okay, And then about a year later, we kind of managed to connect again.
Right.
But we connected because it was like, at that point, I had enough of Malaysia. And I'm like, right, I'm done. I'm ready to go back to the UK. I packed up my house. I bought a one-way ticket to go back to the UK. And I was literally ready to go home and start a new life and rebuild everything from scratch. And so I connected with my current wife now because it was like, hey, we had an amazing time a year ago. Like, I'd love to spend some time with you before I leave to go back to the UK. And she was like, well, sure, I'm single, you're single, let's hang out. So we spent a little bit of time together, and then like a few days later, I was supposed to go back, but then on one of my court cases an issue popped up, which the other side created to try and make things more difficult for me. So in the end, I had to stay in Malaysia longer.
Right.
So in the end, I ended up ripping up my ticket, staying. But that very same day, I called Tira up and I was like, hey, I'm now staying in Malaysia. Do you wanna come over to my place tonight? Let's have some dinner and let's hang out. And then that was the catalyst for us solidifying our relationship and it becoming as strong as it did, which led to marriage.
Oh, wow. And coming to you, besides enjoying a great married life, what are you doing otherwise? What are you doing in terms of the professional life?
Wow, I'm doing quite a few things at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I started out with that, and I'm going. Maybe we'll come to this. I didn't know it's going to take this long to come to this. Now let's get into that portion.
Yeah. So I've got my hands in a few different pies at the moment. Obviously, going back into the nightlife industry, one of the key factors for me really getting back into the nightlife, clubbing, entertainment industry was down to a guy called Tristan Rodriguez and a guy called Kaiser. So together they run a company called Jambu Jambu Asia. And Jambu Jambu Asia is all about nightlife, about clubbing, about elevating the clubbing industry, bringing in amazing DJs that play great music, providing a great clubbing experience. And they had set up the company and they were doing some very, very cool events. And Tristan's like, Joe, come and join us. Get back into the nightlife. Let's do things together, And so I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Because it was an opportunity for me to get back into the nightlife and reactivate all of the resources that I used to have when I was a permanent fixture of the nightlife back then. Yeah. And it felt good, as I said, with the support of my wife.
Yeah.
Now with this young group called Jambu Jambu Asia, they're really energized. They really want to change the face of clubbing in Malaysia, and they want to do things to a specific standard and an international scale. I was like, okay, all the ingredients are right. Let's get out and join these guys and be a part of the team. So I jumped in with the boys in the company and obviously DJing for their events. We got a little offspring called Jambu TV. And Jambu TV is just like, they were like, hey, Joey, your TV background, come on, let's put it back to use. Let's get Joey G back out there again. So we were like, okay, well, let's start this Jambu TV thing because it's an opportunity for us to interview all the artists that are coming into Malaysia.
Yeah.
Obviously with my TV production background, I can handle that very easily. And then with my hosting background, I can interview the artists. And it's just about elevating the nightlife that we so love, and making it, showing the world, showing people out there like, hey, this is what we do in Kuala Lumpur. We're on par with any other city in the world. Kuala Lumpur's great, and this is what we do, and that's what Jambu TV is all about.
I think, see, you mentioned this earlier as well, right? We're really Kuala Lumpur is happening. The nightlife is fantastic.
Yes.
But maybe it's just my age, right? You're 44, I'm 47, right? Turning
not
47.
far off.
Not far off. But the question, all right. So I've got this question. Back when Velvet Underground was actually cool. It was underground. It was in what is that? Jalan Ampang.
Yeah, it was in the old Zouk.
It was
building,
in the old
Jalan
Zouk.
Ampang, yeah.
I remember that time.
It was iconic.
Iconic, right?
Yeah.
It was. I felt. And of course before that. So I felt that the clubbing scene was really happening back then. It feels a lot more fragmented now, right? Like you've got neighborhoods that have clubs.
Yeah.
Where there used to be mamaks before.
Yeah.
They're now clubs.
I think what it is now is obviously there's a lot more options.
Right.
So you've got like a lot more areas now, and they've built clubs in various areas, PJ, Kota Damansara, Bangsa, KL, Hartamas.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many places to go now. Whereas back then, those days, it was a little bit more limited, like the cool places. But here's the thing, saying what you're saying there. This is the nightlife. It goes up and it goes down. And there are many eras over, like, for instance, my 25 years or more being in KL here. I have seen peaks, many peaks
Yeah.
of the nightlife industry. And it's a very different era. Different sound, different people, different type of movement, pushing things forward, different type of club experience. And then it kind of dies down, and then it comes back up with a new trend of a new sound, and then it revitalizes the club scene, and then everyone starts going out. So, you know, for me, the golden era of the Malaysian or the Kuala Lumpur nightlife club scene, what you were talking about, Velvet Underground and such, would have been from late 90s going into, I don't know, late 90s to late 2000s.
2010, 2012 kind of thing, right?
Moving up to that, yeah. But,
Then things started to
yeah,
shift.
so even earlier than that.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
heydays of the clubbing industry here in KL would have been the days when we had the cigarette sponsorship and alcohol
Oh,
sponsorship.
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Because talking about the cigarette sponsorship, money grows on trees, literally, right? And then you've got like British American Tobacco, and you've got Philip Morris, and you've got
Yes.
JTI. These
Yeah.
are all competing companies.
Correct.
So first, initially, to get into the clubbing industry and do rave culture was British American Tobacco, Kent. And they started pumping a lot of money into the industry. And then when they're putting the money in, you can bring the world's greatest DJs, you can
Correct.
have these amazing setups, these amazing outdoor parties with amazing experience, and setups are just like, wow, all of what you don't get now,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And then JTI sees it and says, hang on, British American Tobacco are doing this, we need to do better.
Yeah.
So they come in and throw loads of money in and do something even better. And then Philip Morris is like, hang on, no, we can't be left out of this. We need to. So then they all start competing, which was
Wow.
good for the industry because they kept having to do better experiences than the last brand.
Understood.
And so the DJs were getting better, the clubs were getting better, the experiences, the setups, the venues. I'll give you an example. The year 2000, Millennium though,
Yeah.
it was the battle of the two companies, JTI and British American Tobacco. JTI had Subang Airport,
Right.
Salem, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then British American Tobacco had Kent, and they were at KLIA. So for New Year's Eve, Kent were down at the, you know when you come out of the airport, if you come out of KLIA and you've got the two car parks right opposite?
Yeah.
It was on the rooftop of the car park. So that was the British American Tobacco. And then JTI, they had Salem at Subang Airport.
Yeah.
Now I think they won the battle because it was on the tarmac.
Oh, really?
On the actual tarmac.
They could pay for that.
They could pay for that. It was crazy. So as I said, I mean, it was an amazing time. And then of course you had like, for instance, a lot of alcohol sponsorship,
Yeah.
Heineken, GAB, and then you've got the Carlsberg group. They were able to pump in a lot of money. So in terms of the heyday of clubbing, it was that time. That would, for me, would be what, you know, like how some people speak about, oh, the 60s was the love era of our time.
Yeah.
I would believe that the late 90s to the early, mid 2000s, that would have been our 60s.
Right. Because
then,
there
'cause
was a lot of money being pumped in.
So
then,
much money.
Right.
But then when the government changed the law,
Correct.
it was sucked out.
That's right.
And then the issue with that is that the DJs have become so expensive.
Correct.
Now there's no money.
Yeah.
You cannot pay 200,000 US dollars, 100,000 US dollars, 50,000 US dollars for an international artist and expect to make your money back at the door here in Malaysia. You just can't do it. So for the longest time, there was this gap of like, there's no international artists coming in and it's kind of very stale.
Correct.
It's not moving anywhere. Nothing exciting is really, really happening.
There was a lot more economics.
A lot more economics
Right.
involved, yeah. But now we're at a point where I'm finding now that club goers are different. So the cycles have changed. You've got
Yeah.
the new generation of people coming in. Their mentality is different. They're more open to paying cover charge. Like, I give an example, there's a party called the Helipad put on by Jambu Jambu, which for me changed the landscape of paying for local DJs because it's a lineup of local DJs and the cover charge is like 120 ringgit at the door.
Right.
And people were paying to come in for all local DJs.
Seriously?
Now the conservative clubber or the conservative club organizer, promoter might complain, oh, that's too expensive for local DJs.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. It's a great place to be
Okay.
because if we can change the mindset of the people who go out and be like, look, if you want to have a great experience with all the setups, with all the trimmings, you've got to pay the extra because there are a lot of costs involved. And unfortunately, we don't have the sponsorship that we used to have. So the fact that we were able to do that and people are paying, we're getting a full house, you see that, okay, the landscape is starting to change. People are now willing to pay.
Yeah.
So now we're at this point where we can start to bring DJs back in.
Right.
Even though we don't have the sponsorships, because we may not make full back the money on the door, but the losses aren't as extreme as it used to be when we don't have the sponsorship and we don't have people willing to pay the price for
That's
the
right. And
DJs.
what you're doing is you're changing consumer behavior, which is harder to do.
Exactly.
So you're working on changing the consumer behavior so that over time, that's when you're looking at long-term profits. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And then through that, as when you start to do really good events, maybe other entities, other brands might see an opportunity to get involved and be like, well, hey, look, I like this demographic which is coming to your event. You've got 1,000 people or you've got 500 people. This is my target demographic. Hey, let me get involved with you guys. Now, the money may not be the same as cigarette or alcohol boys, but any type of contribution from any type of sponsor which is relevant to that nightlife demographic really, really helps to make a change.
Works. That works. Are there many clients like that?
There are. I'm seeing, give you an example. If you look at one way to gauge that is if you look at upcoming festivals. Like we've got this amazing festival called Pinkfish.
Yeah.
And Pinkfish is doing really, really well. And for me, whenever someone does an event, one of the first things I look at nowadays is not who's the lineup, who's the sponsors.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
And there are brands coming in.
Okay.
It's not what it used to be, and it's not getting us where we need to be, but it's a slow step forward in what we can be.
So tell me something, because I went to this club called Hola Hola in Damansara Heights.
So I'm not
so it's a new thing, and I think I'm a bit too old for clubbing anyway. But nonetheless, it was somebody's birthday, so we went there. I don't have the energy, man. I mean, I'm still recovering, and that was last Saturday, last Friday night.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering. How do you?
Can I just say that I share your struggle on that one? It's true, like when you get to your 40s, obviously with the company that I'm with for the nightlife stuff, Jumbo, those are young guys. They're in their 20s, they're mid-20s and late 20s, and they're fully energized. But it's difficult. Even me DJing for a 2-hour set now, my feet start to hurt. And I was just having this conversation with someone the other day, now I can't pick my shoes based on style. No, I need to pick them on what's comfortable. Soon I'm gonna have to start wearing Crocs, because the sponginess.
You don't have to worry about that, because I'm seeing the kids, they're wearing Crocs in clubs.
I know, they're becoming trendy, but
I don't think it's about the trend. I think they don't care about style. They're going, back in the day, you'd wear stuff and be uncomfortable because it was style. You had to do well, you had to dress well.
Yeah.
They don't care about
it's a trend.
dressing well now.
It's a trend. It's a trend. It's not a trend that I would jump on, but for instance, Crocs. When I was in the UK recently, a lot of people just walking around in Crocs, and I'm just like, okay.
No, nothing wrong with Crocs. I love Crocs,
nothing wrong with them,
but not about clubs. I don't know. I don't see the. Maybe they should do a campaign for that.
But what you're saying also about the energy level. Well, look, here's the thing. You've got to remember, nightlife is always catering to the younger generation. So, for instance, my generation of people who used to come out with me in my heyday, who are my age group and a little bit older, they will say oh, Joey, you're playing this weekend, yeah? And I'm like, yeah. What time are you playing? Oh, I'm playing 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Okay, no problem, bye. They don't have the energy. Even me, I'm that age where I don't have the energy, but I still go out and do it, right?
Yeah.
But we are catering to the younger generation.
That's right.
Right?
Correct.
So the cycle of people who are out now, it's the new batch. They're in their late teens, 20s, from 19, 18 to 30, 18 to 35.
Do you relate to the music?
Oh yeah.
You do?
I relate to my style of music and anyone that is pushing that style of music. But the trend currently in KL now is a thing called what they call hyper techno. It's a little bit too hard for my liking, a little bit too fast. But for the younger generation, that's what they're into and they're loving it. They're eating it like it's nothing, I mean,
right.
They love it, yeah. And why not? That's their thing.
Sure,
Our things are different.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 80s, right? Listening to 80s pop music.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my nostalgic type of sound, and
That's right.
which leads me on to appreciate a different style of music. And now this younger generation, that's what they're into. It's fine.
On my first cassettes, it was two. One was Bad, Michael Jackson, and the other was Rick Astley. Those were the two I started music with.
Iconic.
Right?
Never gonna give you up.
Oh,
Never gonna let
man.
you down.
And now I just privately listen to that.
No, but it's funny you say that. I was just thinking the other day, what we don't have in KL is a good mumbo jumbo night, where people our age group can go out and just not be serious.
Correct.
Just listen to good sing-along songs. Maybe we'll do one here at Upper House.
But you see, Mambo night used to happen on a Wednesday. I don't think we have the energy for a Wednesday night and Thursday back to work.
Well, now also what we've got to do, we've got to make it early. So here at Upper House, also going...
Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so here, one of the other things that I do now is I'm involved with Upper House. Upper House is this new restaurant in Chinatown, brought to you by the Carve Group.
Yeah.
And so with Upper House, I'm the music and entertainment director. And we have a nice, what the people can't see out here is there's a nice rooftop open air terrace. And we have a DJs out there, we have a saxophonist, sometimes we have a percussion player. We play sort of chilled, beachy kind of vibe, sunset type of music where people can come, you can have a great dinner.
Nice.
And then go out to the outdoor terrace, have some cocktails, have some drinks, enjoy the view of the Merdeka 118, the view overlooking Chinatown.
Yeah.
And we're trying to bring sort of like a Bali kind of vibes or a Dubai kind of vibey thing.
Right.
It's all about vibes, not about making people dance. But this coming Sunday, we'll have what we call the Sunday brunch.
Right.
And we start at 12 and you can come in, you can get a package and the package will have drinks and we'll have meals, a menu included.
Nice.
But after that, that's from 12 to like 4. After 4 p.m, it's just open up for people to come. And the last night we did, we had people here until 7 o'clock dancing and having a great time. Now, reason why I'm saying that is because what we're talking about, mumbo jumbo, one of the biggest complaints I get among our age group is that, man, I want to go out early and I want to finish early.
Yes,
I want to be at home by 10 o'clock.
That's right.
I want to be asleep by 11. I hear you. Come to our Sunday brunch. That's what we should do.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be great, in fact, yeah.
And what we were talking is maybe we should start to do theme parties. So what would be cool is like an 80s theme party.
Yeah.
Early afternoon, Saturday, people can come out and enjoy and, have a great time.
Yeah.
And you can be home in bed by 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 maybe early, but 10, definitely by 10.
Well, there we go.
I want to be in bed by 10.
Do you know what? I think we're going to make that happen.
Okay, cool. You know what we'll do? You once you do that, let us know, and you will see it over here. You will be seeing the pricing for the thing and whatever it is.
Excellent.
We'll put that in.
We'll work on that for sure, definitely.
For sure. Yeah? Yes. My EP says yes. All right. Okay, so this scene, look, we've said this. This scene is for the young, but seasoned players like yourselves know how to be a lot more relevant to the young, and you'll continue to be this. But let's say 5 years down
From now?
from now,
Okay.
what's Choi Ji?
Who knows, From my experiences, life is such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And even though I could say to you that I have a plan of where I want to be in 5 years, there could be bumps in the road that might change that. So for me, I don't necessarily look that far ahead. Where I would like to be is, I'd like to have a new family, meaning that my wife and we're actually trying, and I hope that she's successful and we're able to have a child within the next year,
Nice.
which 5 years down the line, then I would have a 4-year-old at least, or a 3-year-old. I mean, ultimately that would be amazing. But on the work front, I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, and people are still dancing when I DJ, so I'd still like to do that. But I'm taking more of a behind-the-scenes role type of thing. And another thing which we haven't spoke about is I'm also the head instructor for an electronic music academy called CAA.
Oh,
CAA is a government-funded project where we teach aspiring musicians how to use a software called Ableton. And I have found that being able to enrich someone else's life, not for what I can do for myself, but what I can do for you,
Right.
is the most rewarding thing I have ever been involved in.
Okay.
So where I would like to be is I would like for CAA to be more than a government-funded project that is an establishment where we are operating on a daily basis, because now we operate based on seasons, based on when we can get the funding from the government, because the format is that the course is free. It's got to be free. It's an intensive course over 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. We have people signing up, all walks from like the beginner right up to established artists. We had Ziavi in our course.
Wow.
We had No Saleh from Ujang come through our course.
Seriously?
And he was learning, he came in for our course, how to use the software, and he was making sort of like, it was, what was it, what kind of music? How would I describe it? He was making, genre now, but he was making lo-fi. There we go.
Oh, lo-fi. Yeah.
I don't know why that skipped my mind.
Yeah.
But he was making lo-fi music, and it's very different from No Saleh that everybody knows. So we have all walks of life, and through our previous intakes, we've had people come in on the first day, they don't know how to use the software, but they're musician background.
Right.
And on the 10th day, they've got a radio-ready song, polished, that they've made.
Seriously.
And we have an industry day. And on our industry panel, sometimes we bring in many different people. We brought in the head of TikTok music. We bring in Priya from Astro Radio, the head of content for Hits FM. We work very closely with Universal Music. So we've got the managing director of Universal Music, Kim, who comes in almost every industry day. And through that process, we have actually had amazing things happen. So some people have been signed up as a singer-songwriter with Universal, or
Seriously?
At one point we had like 5 or 6 of our creators, their songs were all on Hits FM, on rotation. So imagine that, people coming in, not knowing how to use the software, and on the 10th day, they've got a song which is now being...
I'm just thinking about that.
A song which has been signed up and is currently on rotation on radio.
Okay. Oh, this must be beautiful, right? To do something like that for someone.
Yeah, it is. Like, and as I said, that was the most rewarding thing. Like when I perform and when I DJ, that's rewarding for my own self.
Yeah.
You know, that's like something that I like to do. It's just my passion.
Yeah.
But being able to help other people, and when you see, like for instance, when someone doesn't know something, and you explain to them in a way that they can understand, and then they finally get it, and their eyes light up, like, wow, I get it. And the joy that they have when they've discovered something new that they're able to do. It's noble, man. And I tell you, I understand why teachers become teachers, because the joys and the gratification that you get out of helping someone else is amazing.
Professor Joey G.
I don't know about professor, but...
Why not?
Well,
one point, at some point.
Sounds cool, doesn't
right?
it?
Yeah,
Professor Joey G.
Great. I mean, look, I think this has been an awesome session because we've really caught up on a lot of things. Sorry, I've got an insect on my...
It's all good, joining us for the interview.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, look, I think it's been an awesome session because I didn't know how deep we were going to go with this because I was a bit tentative, but I think it was very positive.
I hope so. And I hope people can have a positive outtake. You know, like what I always say to people is this: you shouldn't judge someone based on what someone else has told you.
Yeah.
Get to know the real person.
That's right.
Because you never know. You could be wrong. And what I always say to people is this: aren't we lucky as human beings that we can live in a world where you can have your opinion, and even if it's wrong, it doesn't matter, but you have that right to have that opinion. And your opinion is your opinion, even if it's wrong. That's what I always say. Judge the person, not the rumor.
The idea is to not listen to rumors, not to pay attention to that. But I'm hoping that this particular podcast, especially, will kind of let people understand the situation, understand what not just what you've been through, but how they can go through things themselves.
Yeah, I mean, look, what I would like to say, because obviously there's many layers, and we didn't actually start to really pick those layers.
Yeah.
Right? We try to keep it on the surface type of thing.
Yes.
What I would say is that from my experience, to anybody who's going into a situation where you have a child and you might be breaking up, be as amicable as you possibly can. Try to always avoid the court path. And even if it means bruising your ego for whatever reason, both parents, either the mother or the father, do what's best for the child and do it amicably. There's no point in fighting. There's no point in dragging things through the court, because nobody ever gets what they want at the end of the day. And
True.
who actually really wants to have the court decide what type of frequency you should
Right.
see your child?
Yeah.
So, learn from my mistakes. Let me be a beacon of like what not to do. Learn from what I went through and what I've done and where I went wrong, and do better. But always try to be amicable in your decision-making process when it comes to the breakup. Think of what's best for your child. Learn to love your partner, even if that love is not reciprocated, and do things through love, not through anything else. Because when you're doing it through honest, unconditional love, not to say that you want to be in love and you want to be together, but just generally love that person and say, you know what, it's fine. You may have this perception, you may think what you want, you may do what you want, you may say all of this stuff, but you know what, I'm going to love you, and I'm going to just agree and just, not to say be a pushover. It's not about being a pushover. It's always about doing what's right for the child, and you can only do what's right for the child if it's amicable. Now, talking about if there are reasons, certain aspects of something going on, negligence to a child, then that's a different story.
Yes.
But if it's just about two people who don't get on and they want to break up, be as amicable as you can.
Yeah.
Right? Really, there's no need for people to fight in the way that I fought, and there's no need for people to be separated from their children in the way that I have been. Two parents make a great child.
That's true. I think one day you're gonna reunite, and I think it's gonna be really amazing.
No doubt.
I hope so. I hope Sophia.
Her name's Sophia.
I hope Sophia, you get to see this at some point in time. I hope this video sticks around for a while
Yeah.
enough for you to see this. But he is a great guy. At least in the last hour or so that I know that we've been speaking. And I mean, I hope one day things work out for everyone.
And they will, and they shall. And I have nothing but positive belief. And as I see that my child is great. She's living a great life.
Yeah.
And even the short time that I had with her, she's an amazing little girl. So her mother is doing something right.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
So to that and a future family. All the best.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Same.
It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
This
much.
is fantastic.
It's been fun.
Thanks so much.